here we are. We are back for the World Championship final round. The winner and ultimate champion will be crowned from this match for Runewars, the Miniatures Game, here at Fantasy Flight Game Center in Roseville, Minnesota. We're down to Justin and JJ.
Both are representing the Ithuculon.
Yes, Ithuk on Ithuk for the championship. I'm Tom Gall. I suppose we should reintroduce ourselves for those that didn't watch the prior match.
And I'm Brooke Robinson. Thank you for joining us.
Yes, thanks for being here.
All right. So today, the final matchup is going to be a Maelstrom. And the objective today is volatile runes. So each player is going to have the chance to place a couple of objective tokens, and then any overlapping units at the end of the round will be taking damage equal to the number of total active runes in play.
That's right. It's something where you pay a pretty big penalty for taking a misstep.
Mm-hmm. And that's going to be especially brutal considering that both players are representing the Ithuk, so you want to see a large number of unstable energy runes.
Yes, you sure do. And in this case, you know, pretty much across both players' lists, we see a lot of Spine Threshers. So sitting at 2 shields, they're going to take damage.
Yep. So one difference between the two lists here today is Justin has got his Spine Threshers, some Berserkers, and Ravos, and then JJ has got Kethra, in addition to many a Spine Thresher and Ravos as well.
That's right. 4 units of 2 trays of Spine Threshers, most of them with Scuttling Whore. Mm-hmm. And of course, both of Justin's unit has Scuttling Whore as well. So it seems that this is there's going to be a lot of scuttling going on in this game. Mm-hmm.
So the Ithuk are known for their speed, but JJ's Spine Threshers are going to be particularly difficult to pin down. I mean, even if you hit one of those Spine Threshers, you can still get surrounded by the other, 3? She's got 4 total?
Yeah. Yeah, you do. So it looks like we're getting to the point of setup, and in this case, JJ has the bid with 198 points as opposed to Justin's 200, and it looks like for both of the pieces of terrain, it's turned out to be temple runes for both of them. And of course, with, or I should say, the Desecrated Chapel. I'm sorry, misread the card here. And with the Desecrated Chapel, they both have of course, a capacity of 4. They are cover 1 and taxing 2 to non-Ithuk. And of course, since there's no Ithuk involved, or no non-Ithuk involved, nobody's going to be taking the taxing penalty.
But Ravos the Everhungry has been taking some lessons from the Latari. We've seen a list here today that put Wind Rune on him.
Yeah, and at least for JJ's list, she just has Insatiable Hunger on her Ravos, whereas in Justin's list, he has both the Goblet, Viscera's Goblet, and Insatiable Hunger. So that's a little bit of a challenge, difference between the two. And another thing that's, of course, interesting is JJ has Kethra in her list. Now, Kethra has no upgrades at all in this particular list of hers. And when you pick up Kethra as a unit, there's a couple of really cool upgrades that I'm sure JJ had to give some thought into as she was constructing her list. So there's Kingsbone Armor, there's Bonecaster, and interestingly, JJ decided not to have either one of those. Mm-hmm.
But Kethra is still a force to be reckoned with. I mean, when she's just participating in a melee, she's got 2 white dice.
She does. And of course, then she also deals out 2 damage with each surge, and then she's got a wonderful skill as well. So on that skill, she can choose an ally anywhere on the table. It's not limited by distance, which is really, really amazing. And when she rolls a white die, any wounds that come up, I should say, any hits that come up, that translates into a wound that her 1 unit takes, but then every enemy unit within distance 1 to 2 also takes that same number of wounds.
So she's going to want to get Kethra right into the middle of the battle to do as much damage as possible.
She sure will. Or at least take advantage of her skill, because in her case, of course, she's got lots of spine threshers, so they can take a lot of damage.
But it's going to be interesting to see spine thresher on spine thresher.
It will. It will. You know it's going to happen at some point for this particular match. And of course, Justin has a 4-tray set of spine threshers as well as a 2-tray, whereas Jennifer's are just all 2 trays.
But Justin also has a frontline spine thresher as an upgrade to his 3x3 tray of berserkers.
He does. And that berserker 9-tray list, or I should say that 9-tray unit of berserkers last game turned out to be really, really pivotal for Justin, as its war sprinter and aggressive shrieker came in and did a lot of work. So we're just to the point where we're placing the volatile runes. And in this case, JJ is setting it up kind of in a way almost as an extension of the terrain. And that's kind of a common thing that players will try to do with volatile runes, is they'll try to anticipate where their opponent is going to go and want to try to march through. And of course, when you have a big 9-tray unit like what Justin has, it's a little bit harder to go and navigate.
So let's have a second.
But interestingly, she's choosing to place it closer to the terrain that's towards the middle of the field, so it could still affect her units as well.
It could. It could.
When she has the option to put them down below.
And looks like she's going to try to close off that middle part of the map. Now, of course, with an Ithuk on a Thuk match, neither one of them really has any ranged weapons to speak of. That's coming up with the Viper Legion, of course. So,
Kethra probably would be the closest that they have to a ranged unit with her skill ability.
That's right. So either way, they're going to have to close on each other in order to try to score some points.
So this is going to be an incredibly fast-paced game.
It will.
I remember last year we had 2 Latari armies facing off, and so they have the ability to just circle around each other, try to get each other within range. There's going to be none of that here today.
No, there will not be any of those kind of shenanigans going on. No wind runes or anything like that in this match. And likewise, as people may or may not remember from last year, of course, one of the players, Ben, he had this wonderful strategy where he was using blockers with the Scions. And, in both of the Ithuk armies, you tend not to use spine threshers as blockers. They're more out there to go out and do some real work.
Well, I mean, they have that white March 1 modifier, so they are designed to move.
Yeah, they do move. They can get off a distance 4 at initiative 5. So it looks like JJ has her first unit down, and of course she's got all of 6 units. So as Justin only has 4, she's got to deploy a few units, of course, before Justin does, to get things equaled out.
So it looks like she's already placed Kethra out on the field there, and she's keeping her protected behind some spine threshers, which seems like a very Kethra move. She wouldn't take unnecessary risks.
Well, of course not. She effectively leads from the rear, right?
And I mean, the Sisters of the Blood Coven, if someone disobeys them, they can just kind of set their minds on fire.
Yeah.
So yeah, they are not to be disobeyed.
No, they are not. Okay, here Justin is making a big commitment to put his 9-tray set of berserkers out.
Trying to get around those objective tokens.
Yeah, he's very, very gingerly watching where that corridor is.
We good? Yeah, that sure is a big old.
And of course, Ithuk tend not to, well, they can move very fast. They tend to move very fast in a straight line.
Yes.
Which means that while he might be able to march out very quickly and get past that volatile rune, if he needs to turn, it's going to take him time to be able to do that.
Yeah, perhaps the best strategy with those guys is just to get them out the distance that you want and then just spend a turn reforming, getting them back in the fight.
Yeah, I think you're right. Okay, here comes Justin's 4 tray of Spine Threshers, and it does look like from all the Spine Threshers that JJ has deployed thus far, each one of them has Scuttling Horror, whereas the last Spine Thresher unit, it is completely blank. No upgrades on that one whatsoever. Looks like Justin is planning on going or taking advantage of the terrain.
And I mean, with 2 armies featuring a lot of similar units, this is perhaps one of the most important parts of the entire fight is the setup beforehand.
It is. It is. In Rune Wars, deployment is a really, really major factor of the game, as you know. It's possible where if you misdeploy, you can wall off your own units and cause a good portion of your army to not even be able to get involved till later in the match, and that allows your opponent to kind of take you apart piece by piece.
Yeah, I've done that more than my share of times.
I'm guilty of accidentally boxing myself in and going, oh darn, I guess I'm not going to get that particular order off because I ran into myself. Oops.
I mean, not that Ravos would mind, though. I mean, so long as he's got some blood that he can drink, he's happy.
Yeah, keep him fed. He's okay. Yeah, so it looks like Justin's going to hold Ravos to his very last deployment. And looks like he's thinking about me. Yeah, it looks like he's going to go ahead and put this 2-tray set of Spine Threshers to go and probably scuttle into the terrain at the top of the game. So that'll give him a little bit more of a jump of getting across the table. Now, for those that can't see, I was. You might notice there's a little bit of a white banner or white look on Ravos there, and it is in fact true. Ravos does have a bit of a banner on him. I played JJ earlier on as part of Swiss, and it's like Ravos's Crab Shack is what it reads. It's you gotta love players and their creative things that they do for this game.
Well, I mean, the scuttling horrors, they are demonic crabs.
They are. Okay, so since both sides have Ravos, it's panic all around. I'm panicked. Are you panicked?
I'm a little panicked. I'm anxious. And I think it's very interesting that JJ has deployed all of her units. She is not using most of her deployment zone. Like, she's putting everybody in that corner. She is ready to fight.
Yeah, she is really, really fortressed up. And it looks like, too, her leading units of Spine Threshers, I think she's gone ahead and put the thorns on them. Because, of course, Kethra has the ability to put those out, which...
All right, what we got? We got 2
for runes
natural.
now. Oh, no
Whoa.
red runes. Oh.
And a Thook battle with no unstable energy runes.
No unstable at all.
Wow.
That's going to be rough this first turn. So I guess poor Justin's not going to be able to take advantage of his War Sprinter. So I guess the question is, with regards to where that volatile rune is in front of that 9-tray block of Berserkers, just how far is a distance 3 march going to get that unit? Is it going to kind of leave it out there dangling?
If we need that down to the second, you've done something wrong.
Okay, so it looks like Justin's all placed. So we've got dials are ready to go. Looks like JJ still got some choices. So
Well, this is going to be a very precarious round with all the units in that one spot. You have to make sure that you've got your initiatives right and that you have your right dials attached to who you want them.
Yeah, so if you're looking at a situation like this, are you thinking you're going to go out aggressive and try to get to the opposite side as quickly as possible, or are you going to maybe kind of hold back a little bit? You know,
But it's a book. No, you're not holding back. You're
well, you know, with you know, honestly, with Kethra now, I think contemplative, you know, it could be a thing.
True.
I'm not saying it's a wise thing.
No, that's possible. My favorite unit is the Flesh Rippers. Has been since they first came out, so I am all about that aggressive first play.
Yeah, unfortunately, no Flesh Rippers in this one.
Yeah, even though Kethra does have her own beloved
That's
Flesh
true.
Ripper,
She
Haruk.
does have that one, yeah.
What was it? She just like, when she was in training, she just fed all of her rivals to the Infernal. And then she summoned herself a giant Flesh Ripper that's large enough to ride on. And because she was just so terrifying, this Flesh Ripper is like, all right, I guess I will accept you and not try to kill you instantly.
Yeah, everybody else, not so much. But you're a friend.
So they're like, we're both terrible predators. We'll just unite and head out to take over the world.
Now, in this game, since it is the championship game, it is not the normal 90 minutes. We instead play for a whole 2 hours. So both of our players have got a lot more time to think about dials and really make sure they're doing the right thing.
Mm-hmm. I mean, only one can rule the Darklands.
This is true.
Mm-hmm. So is this match really just to determine who's most worthy to lead the Ithuk when they go to take over the Amelin Forest down in the south?
That's a good question. You know,
or is this just like an average Tuesday for the Ithuk?
Yeah, this is a staff meeting.
Yeah. We've got a lot of soldiers. We're running out of food, so we're gonna kill off half of you.
Yeah, this is grocery shopping.
Mm-hmm.
Together all day.
And this is just grocery shopping for Ravos. Let's be clear on that. All right, so JJ has decided to go and scuttle.
Nobody else is scuttling.
And only with the one unit. Okay, probably with little surprise, both of Justin's units are scuttling into the terrain. Thankfully, it's with the desecrated chapel, doesn't affect anything if you're Ithuk, so it's pretty much a nice piece of terrain to go into.
Yeah, this is very interesting first round. Nothing bad happening with the terrain, nothing good happening with the runes.
Okay, so JJ at the top of the turn, so she's gone and she's rallied away one panic token. And now with her second unit, so we're at initiative 4. She's marching out.
That's 4 to you.
No fours.
So JJ has no 4s at all. And so now we're up to initiative 5. No surprise, the Ithuk are marching forth. Maximum speed, pedal to the metal. Here we go.
You do the 2 and 1 just because it was crossing the tray. It's good, but like,
Yeah, I got you.
So I was going to say just with Ravos, but they both have Ravos. So with Justin's Ravos just kind of chilling at the bottom of the screen here, he's got to loop around. So he's going to want to move as quickly as possible in these first couple rounds. But looks like there's already some Spine Threshers heading his way.
Yeah. Dinner is heading towards him. So JJ is going to go ahead and move up Kethra and then do a reform. But yeah, Ravos is going to have a little bit of a march to get into the action. Because unfortunately, he's going to have to go straight to get past that terrain before he is able to turn in. And so the Berserkers have gone off on initiative 6, doing their maximum move, which is, of course is a distance 4 march.
And not overlapping any of the rooms.
Very importantly.
Like, the importance of deployment for that size of unit in this game could not be overstated.
Well, what's really interesting too, we'll see what Justin ends up doing, but that rune, which is just from where Justin is standing to his left, that's a really effective way to kind of protect himself from somebody coming in on his flank and trying to take advantage of getting an extra die from the flank attack.
That's true. Actually, as I'm looking at the runes now, maybe it wouldn't be that bad, at least in round 1.
True.
It's only possible for there to have been 1 fewer rune on the field.
Hispanics on Ravos, right?
Correct, thank you.
Okay, so it looks like JJ's going to scuttle out, or shift out, and then do a 1 march forward.
Did you go down with the shift?
Yeah.
You can't come out that way on the shift. You have to touch the side or the back or the front, I mean.
You are right.
So I think Justin was hoping to have his the back of his unit. And JJ just mentioned that since it's a shift out, that means he has to have the side or the front of the unit actually touching the terrain. Okay, looks like Spine Stressors likewise. They're going to do the same thing, so this 4 block.
They essentially shift out on the side, oriented towards it, and march back in.
Oh, interesting. They're going to continue to hold in the terrain.
If you're already touching it,
Trying to draw his enemy out a bit more.
with it during your march. You don't collide with anything you're already touching. You can redo that whole activation.
You're blowing our minds here.
Okay, we're just going through.
Yeah,
Looks
no,
like
I've been using that relentlessly for a while.
kind of a finer point of the game, or how you shift out and then would move back right in.
Sure. Yeah. Oh,
I love it. We're inventing edge cases.
But he is still able to hold that terrain.
Yeah.
I hope this is an edge case. I do that all the time.
Yeah, so I think what the question is that is there a way for Justin to shift out and then be able to march right back in?
Terrain on a collision, or can we enter terrain during our activation if we're touching? You have to collide with it.
So the question is, so he still has to collide with the terrain, but when you shift out, you're already touching it.
You're still touching the terrain.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. So the question is, how do you collide with something that you've already are currently touching?
I mean, to be fair, there's enough giblets on here. If it says, if he's right and it says, oh, would overlap, I'll say keep doing it, because otherwise, like, clearly you've both been playing that way. I mean, the whole time. Check it. I can live with it. If I don't, I have options.
So one of the things that goes with the championship match, you play to the highest standard of play. But even then, Runewars, it's still kind of a young game too. So we're all still kind of find these little finer points of the rules.
It only says when the unit collides with it, and I remember we had to check this at the previous point.
But that's what happens when you try to play defensively as the Thug rather than just getting out there and destroying your enemy.
This is true.
It does not say with overlap.
Yep. Who heard of a spine thresher holding back?
Yeah.
What? A spine thresher is trying to stay in a building rather than just ripping it down? What?
Well, these are the mind games that players have to have.
Actually, maybe that's the problem. Maybe it's like as soon as the Spine Threshers would leave that building, they would rip it apart on their way out, so the train shouldn't even be there anymore.
Yeah.
Come out here.
Yeah, especially these buildings. Okay, so looks like based on the ruling, he does in fact gonna have to shift out a little bit differently. So he's got his side place there. He's got the one altar room underneath him, but
I know my butt won't land on it.
he's got enough movement to clear it. But
Ooh, and now we are lined up for a fight.
we are gonna see, I think, a little bit of action here this next turn. And here goes Ravos.
Well, I mean, he can't let the Spine Threshers have all the fun without him.
No, he can't. So we're up to initiative 8 in the round. I believe that's the last activation. So now we're end of turn effects. So both Ravoses, time to pause for a meal. And
Wait, what does his banner say on JJ's side?
I believe it was Ravos's Crab Shack.
Yeah, hopefully he brought some butter.
Exactly. Just remember to tip the wait staff. So now, with JJ's Ravos, she does, of course, also have Insatiable Hunger, so she'll be able to move up. And she might...
Just insatiable hungering forward there.
She's going to have some choices as far as she's going to take the wound on Ravos or hand it off to somebody else.
I don't know. What would you decide in this situation?
I think I'd be passing it off to the Spine Thresher that kind of has that little yellow marker on it.
Yeah, same.
Ravos will put a wound on one of these guys. That's your pick. And I need to move that. Try.
Okay, so his Ravos is going to go ahead and do a turning 2.
But now that is just a straight shot to that 2-unit Spine Threshers.
Nicely done.
Yep, he just made it. That's some nice maneuvering.
Let's do this crab. No.
And that is the professional movement that you will only see at the World Championships.
That's exactly right.
That is why we are here.
Round 2, right?
And now Ravos is lined up for a perfect straight shot.
He is. So now the question is what's the distance between the two? Can he get there in 4? Oh, look at the runes this time. Still no red runes whatsoever.
And that's going to hurt Ravos. So he can't do that initiative 4 march.
No, not at all. And likewise with the War Sprinter, its skill isn't going to cause any additional movement.
At the end of this unit's activation, these Spine Threshers receive a panic token.
They already have one.
They already have. Oh, it's hiding. Okay. Ravos is chasing.
Our marshal is just checking. So when, of course, one of the things about Spine Threshers, when they end their activation, they hand out panic tokens. At least for those that would be within distance 1, since there were no red runes going on this round, or the prior round. Of course, now none for this round as well. But
with this close of a battle happening right there in the middle of the field, like,
yeah.
range 1 is a lot.
Yeah, you're not worrying about panic tokens anymore.
Mm-mm. So in order to summon a Spine Thresher, you have to spill a lot of blood, like a full battle's worth, just to get one of those guys. So at the end of this battle, do they just use the blood of all the Spine Threshers to summon more Spine Threshers?
Well, that would be recycling. Mm-hmm. That might be the thoughtful thing to do.
Maybe Kethra has some evil plans already cooked up.
Yeah, so that's a bit of trivia I didn't know. I'm guessing that's probably in the Terrinoth book.
Actually, it comes in the expansion pack.
Oh, is
so,
it? Yeah.
Each time that you buy a Runewars expansion, there's
that was in one of the little
rules.
stories. Okay.
Yes.
I'd forgotten about that one. Yeah, that is kind of one of the nice things about this game. You know, there's a really good set of lore, you know, behind each one of these units, the characters,
and I love just the realm of Terrinoth. It's also got like a good history behind it. Like we were talking earlier, Baron Zakhareth.
yes.
He had appeared in an earlier game as a villain. Now he has entered Runewars Miniatures Game as a potential hero.
Yeah.
He's changing his ways.
He's got options. And he weighs them both. So our players have a lot of options that they've got to weigh. In this case here, Justin has initiative. So while that's a great thing to have, especially in a mirror match like this, because you know, at least when you charge or attack or anything like that, you know, you're going to win that initiative, but you've got to pick that point that you're going to win that tiebreaker. Whereas with JJ, she's got lots of units, and so you know that could be.
So she does have one unit of Spine Threshers that's kind of right in the middle, right to the north, I guess, of Kethra.
Sure.
That can go either way. It can either go for the 9 block of Berserkers or for the 4 block of Spine Threshers. I think I would personally go for the Berserkers. How about you?
Well, you know, and given that she's got she's got the ability to scuttle, so she could inch herself over and then dial up a charge. You know, another thing I wonder that she might be thinking about too is that, you know, since the Berserkers, you know, they do have a wonderful turn, so they can go like like on an initiative 6, you know, an unaltered turn. So on a, you know, speed 3 march, that's a 3 turn, which is a lot of ground to cover. You know, I'm kind of like you. I wonder if she wouldn't do something where she can kind of plan to go after them, but like maybe scuttle away and try to, you know, take away what might be, you know, that big move.
But also, she's got Kethra for a little range support if she wants to really try to draw Justin's units in.
True.
So she can play more cautiously.
She doesn't need to be in a hurry. You know, again, with this game being all about volatile runes, there is no victory tokens involved, so there's no score to be achieved by taking victory tokens or anything like that. It's decidedly the antimatter of victory tokens. Don't go near them, or you will disappear.
But that means it's all about the blood that is shed, which I think is very appropriate and beautiful for the Ithuk.
Very, very appropriate in this game. And in some case, you shed some of your own blood so that the others will shed their blood.
And Ravos is happy either way.
Yeah. So I'm kind of guessing that we'll probably see an initiative speed 1 charge from that 4 block of Spine Threshers. I'm sure that's probably going to be the very first thing that Justin does. But by doing that, you know, he's going to enter into almost kind of a little bit of a tar pit, because then, you know, if JJ's anticipating that, maybe she'll dial up an attack on initiative 4, and then of course that other Spine Thresher unit, which is a little bit further back, it could charge in. So that's you know, essentially a double attack for Justin's 1 attack.
That's true. But at this point, is there any way to really maneuver around that? For Justin, sorry.
Well, this gets into the head games. So maybe he does an initiative 5 charge. And then if JJ does a 4, then, that's going to be a swing and a whiff. And then he comes in later with the hit.
Or maybe head back into the train.
Yeah. Okay. You called it.
What? I wish it'd been a little bit faster. Like, he was already starting to lay it down a little bit.
Am I so scary with my little two?
I don't know. Maybe I'm an actual witch of the blood coven. Like, I have the power of premonition.
You've got the powers. You called it. Yeah, so that's interesting. I think JJ just kind of being in the position that she is. Justin sensed that he wasn't playing with kind of the position of strength, if you will. So it was better to kind of get back.
And since this is the final game of the championship, they have a longer game to work with. So
they do. Unlike the 5 rounds of Swiss, this isn't about winning, or I should say trying to achieve the perfect 10-1. This is more about just getting 1 point of MOV, because that's all it takes. Likewise for Gen Con this year, we had a very, very close result just like that too, where it was 3 MOV. That's all it takes to win that championship game. Okay, so we're up to initiative 4 now.
Yeah. These guys thought there might be action by now. There's not now.
So, how about that? Yep. So JJ, in fact, did dial up the 4. But she did go 1 forward just in case.
All right. I have a 5.
So we had been anticipating, or I had anyway, most of the battle, or the early fighting, taking place towards the northern part of the battlefield, but looks like that's changing.
Yeah, I'm wondering if we aren't going to see more of the action around here on the lower part of the screen. Because in this case here, with Justin moving forward in the way that he did, certainly those berserkers probably are not going to be moving straight forward. They're going to be running into their own unit and stopping.
That's actually a very good move on Justin's part, because Kethra has a lot less defense around her from that direction.
Yeah.
So even if he can get that bottom unit of JJ's Spine Threshers locked up with his own Spine Threshers, then bring Ravos around, Kethra's got nowhere to go.
Now JJ looks like she ended up colliding with her own unit, and don't know for sure that she didn't have enough to get past it, but looks like she's kind of stuck right there. So now we have Kethra's dial, Ravos' dial, the 9 tray.
Here's a judge call. Once I put the template down, am I committed to turning that way, or can I turn the other way?
I think you are.
Okay. That's all my 5s.
So now both players have to adjust their strategy. We thought it was going to be a lot of early fighting in this round, and we've only seen 1 collision, and that was between 2 allied Spine Threshers.
Yeah, we're up to initiative 6 already. Or now 7. So I think Justin is giving some deep thought as far as what he's going to do with the Spine Threshers. So Looks like the same order as last turn. Shift out and then march forward by 1.
Yeah, and then I will march forward, run into him.
So it looks like Justin just wanted to be a little bit more patient on deciding how he was going to approach JJ's force.
My back end is about here.
Both players may be representing the Ithiculon, but there's no need to rush.
Yep.
So it looks like from a scoring up perspective, this is kind of one of the aspects of the game where normally you would square up so that the trays were evenly aligned, but given where the terrain is and that if squaring up one other direction would cause Justin to impact that other 2 tray of spine threshers, he's going to stay exactly where he is. And then what'll happen is that when JJ activates that particular unit in the future, it'll square up. Okay, so now JJ's activating Ravos. JJ has put down the dial so we get to see it. So it's a 2 shift with a reform. So it looks like she's going to get as absolutely close as possible to those spine threshers.
Fair?
Seems legit.
That's 7. Back to you.
Okay, and here comes the 9 tray. So at least for this particular round, JJ's going to be able to inflict a wound on Justin's 4 tray of spine threshers.
Forward and try to march forward as well.
Oh, they did do a forward march.
Beating the crap out of the terrain.
So Justin did not elect to do the turn.
Well, the turn would have put him on top of one of the runes, so there were no good options.
No, there weren't. And perhaps in an un-Ithiculon kind of way, he decided not to sacrifice any of his own unit to get to the opposite side. Now here comes Ravos. He's going to be committed. So this sets up a really interesting turn 4 because...
So Ravos will be able to charge at initiative 3?
True, but don't forget, there's insatiable hunger involved, so Ravos could, if he wanted to, impact that unit. And since it would be JJ's initiative for the next turn, Justin's got to think about what he wants to do. Of course, the nice thing is if he does decide to collide, then Ravos attacks on a 3, whereas, of course, the spine threshers only attack on a 4, so you would get the earlier activation.
And JJ once again deciding to keep Cathra kind of protected behind those spine threshers.
Yep, she's definitely trying to keep herself safe, both from the 9 tray, Ravos, and that other spine thresher unit.
We got a convenient judge here, so it makes it a lot easier than me trying to...
Okay, so I'm fairly sure that JJ is activating Kethra's skill.
Can we mark Ravos? Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
And of course, Kethra has this skill, which is the ability to, on the rolling of a white die, for every hit that's achieved, hand out wounds. And what it does is it keys off of an allied unit. So that allied unit suffers that many wounds, and then
The friendly units you target, no other friendly
every enemy unit that's within distance 1 to 2 also suffers that same number of wounds. So you're basically kind of trading damage.
That's okay. She rolls Mortal Strike almost every time.
For yourself, but you can.
But not today. All right. Everybody gets a wound.
Okay, looks like she gave out a wound. So it looks like she rolled 1 hit. So
Same pressure.
Same crowd would be good.
both one for Ravos and 1 for the Spine Thresher. So that's not a bad trade. 2 for 1.
No, not at all.
I'm out as well.
You were set next to it. All right.
Pretty much. Next turn's a lot easier.
Yeah.
Cool. End of turn. I have initiative. I will bank walk to the left.
Into the crowd. Like this.
Pretty much.
Okay, and Justin has decided to come in and close the distance.
Grab. Bravos.
Brought leftovers.
Let's grab Shack. It's probably not good.
So a second wound on the Spine Thresher. And in theory, Ravos should take another panic token.
Does Bravos already have a panic token, though?
Well, for running into another unit.
Oh, sorry. I thought that it was
Spine
off
Thresher.
the Spine Thresher
Yeah.
ability. I'll be over here if you need me.
No, it's good. That's good. Okay, so it looks like JJ has the same consideration. Where does she want to try to move 2 and contact the Spine Thrusters, or does she want to hang back?
And Justin has got to try to get his 9 tray of Berserkers out there this round.
Yeah, that's a big, expensive unit to keep out of the fight.
Yeah.
Okay.
Especially when it's located in the middle of it.
Yeah.
All right. That's 3, right?
And it looks like JJ has decided to not close in with her Ravos.
Wait. I had initiative. I'd have to toss.
All right.
Okay, so here we come with casting of the runes.
Do we have some unstable energy this time?
There you go.
There we
There we-
go, finally.
All right.
How many turns did that take to get some unstable?
Oh my gosh, yeah. The poor Thook. All they want to do is just kill each other,
Yeah.
and they can't find the unstable energy runes.
Where was the Athuk weatherman today? I mean, how did they, did
They must
just
have
call-
sacrificed him to the Infernal, and then they just like instantly regretted it.
Yeah. We don't like this weather forecast. Do it again. Okay, so I'm imagining this is probably going to be a fairly busy round.
Pairs for round 6 have been posted. Pairs for round 6 of Game of Thrones has been posted.
So I guess if you were in the same position, Brooke, might you do with both of Justin's units that are currently kind of out of the fray, that being the 9 tray and the 2 tray of Spine Threshers?
Oh boy. Well, you got to get the Spine Threshers out of there first. But I don't know. I think I might try to change the path of those Spine Threshers completely. Like get them to shift out of the way, see if they can wrap back around to help Ravos. Then turn with the 9 unit to head north to try and get those Spine Threshers.
You're looking at a straight hit somewhere.
Yeah.
Because right now it looks like two of the units could line up to flank them. So I would try to cancel that out. How about you?
This is public game.
Well,
Tell you what it is.
JJ's got an interesting opportunity where she could, it looks like she may be caught up there. So, her ability to kind of scuttle and get out of the way of the 9 tray might be kind of limited. The bad thing or good thing, depending on what side of the table you're on when it comes to Berserkers, is they don't have a turning charge. However, in the case of Justin's build, he has aggressive Shrieker. So he gets the turning charge for free. So, JJ's, if she stays right there, assuming that Justin scuttles out of the way and opening up that 9 tray to move in for the charge, that's, I think that's probably maybe what I would think be the most straightforward thing is just have the 2 units scuttle out to the right, and then just do a turning charge into those spine threshers. But on the other hand, JJ, she could just scuttle into the side of that 4 tray, and then that allows the other 2 tray to then scuttle closer to Ravos, and that may be just enough to deny or take away being able to be hit.
I mean, she probably wants to do anything possible to avoid getting charged by the 9 tray. Because they've got the frontline spine thresher, so they've got brutal 1 and a reroll.
Yeah.
Because everybody's panicked.
That total brutal 4 from that 9 tray. You sure want to avoid that if you can. So it looks like we're roughly a quarter way through the match. Now, another thing that JJ might have to be thinking about here too is what she's going to do with Kethra. Does she dial up something that has an early initiative and then trigger the skill, which would then go and put yet another rune on Ravos, as well as that spine thresher unit? Or does she maybe think about holding back, or even potentially, holding back with the intent of, maybe drawing in that 9 tray, maybe even charging it on the side? I mean, I don't know. That
Charging the 9 tray with Kethra?
That might be kind of crazy. Well, if the 9 tray presents its flank,
yeah,
that would be at least one way to keep him busy. I mean, it would be kind of a sacrificial move, though.
That's crazy.
Yes, it is.
You know what? It's crazy like in a thuck.
Well, I'm just glad it's not just me.
Okay, so JJ has decided to scuttle into the path of the 9 tray. But she does have initiative, so she can do the charge and get that before Justin does. So the question is, did Justin guess right?
Yeah, the rest are happy.
All right. He can't.
So then JJ will be locking down the 9 tray of Berserkers with that one team of Spine Threshers, but they also have that other team right next to them. So will she try to draw those guys around to hit the 9 tray on the flank?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. Does she just try to take care of that 4 tray of Spine Threshers with just her 2 tray and Ravos, or does she...
I mean, Ravos is going to do a wound at the end of the round anyway, so yeah, it's possible.
I figured there was something that would stop.
And he's flanking, or would be flanking.
I just had to make sure.
Okay, so it looks like Justin's going to go ahead and move those Spine Threshers over scuttling, which means that they probably aren't going to be able to do much this turn.
Cool. Yeah, they can't scuttle. I scuttled him, so you're calling.
Great. I have it too.
Go for it.
I'm gonna blow up Kethra again.
So Kethra with the 2 initiative.
I assume you scuttled these guys out of range. What's going on over here?
Go for move first.
I mean, she just.
Oh, speed
traded
1.
it up.
Okay. I wasn't sure how fast it was.
So, of course, Kethra has this initiative 2 move, which is how she's activating early, but she's tied up against the back of those Spine Threshers, so she's kind of not going anywheres. But now she's got to think what to do to...
But maybe that's a nice thing, because then she doesn't have to have any regrets about using her ability to inflict wounds on those Spine Threshers, because she can use them to dole out more damage, and then also, once they're gone, she's free to move about.
Oh, the white die for the trade.
Sorry.
So it looks like she did score a wound. So that's going to be on both the 9 tray as well as that 4 tray of Spine Threshers.
Which crab explodes?
You hit him?
Sure.
Sorry, I mean you hit
Yeah,
that
that's
unit.
unit. That's the unit, yeah.
That guy. That one won't matter.
Yeah. All right.
Alright, that was a 2?
2 to you.
I have no 2s.
Okay, so now we're up to initiative 3.
I have 3.
Yeah, I do.
And there goes the charge.
Great.
So the 9 tray is going to get Spine Threshers.
Dice are good. Haven't had any of those
Roll
yet.
dice in this game.
I know.
And since there's already panic, JJ's going to get a reroll. It's only 1 red die, but oftentimes that's all you need.
So that'll be 6 damage and a panic test.
Looks like
So 6 damage, not a bad result. And most importantly, though, that's a 3 panic test. There's lots of fun cards in the morale
Oh,
deck.
and she got one.
Oh, did she ever?
Yeah.
Oh boy, what could it be?
if you can just throw the card you picked in there. Yeah.
Please keep reminding me. And then
Okay, so she's picked Disarray.
panic back. These guys already have
She's going to put a stun token on. I wonder, I'm guessing the 3 probably was maybe something where the Berserkers, of course, are Steadfast Fear, so
Yes.
might have been just 1 short on the panic. Oh, here goes Ravos for the attack.
So that's 8. Actually, sorry, that's Surge. Am I distance 1 at Kethra?
Let's find out.
Oh, damn, I missed that option last turn.
So what we're looking at right now is what's the distance between Ravos and Kethra, because of course Ravos has this ability where with a unique surge he can hand out a wound to anybody within
Surge
distance
goes
1.
to him and her.
And it looks like she is close enough.
8 more
Yeah.
damage, so I'll take out.
So 1, 2.
Yep.
So 1 of the Spine Threshers goes down.
3, 4, right?
Yeah, because I did 5 total and you had 2 already. So yeah.
So now the question is Ravos going to form up, or will Ravos stay where he's at?
Oh, not closing.
All right, and Justin's decided not to close in.
The Bravos activation, I'm going to take one of those off of this one.
Sorry, what?
This got
Oh,
the
he's got this one
activation.
coming. Yeah, I'm with
So
Yeah.
Justin's just taken a wound off of
Cool.
his Ravos due to Viscera's Goblet, which is full at the top of the game. So the really nice thing is at the end of Ravos' activation, if Viscera's Goblet has a wound token on the card, you're able to remove a wound from the figure on the table.
Where do they square up?
So you square up.
Yeah, and I'm gonna be.
So now we are shifting our attention to the other side of the battlefield,
Yeah.
as we've got Spine Threshers fighting
I'm
Spine
lined up with
Threshers.
this guy's
Spine
claws, so
Threshers.
now, but they're over
We
there.
know what we're trying.
Yeah, JJ's Spine Threshers are a little bit of a perilous position, being on
Sorry.
the flank, but here they go.
In case you hadn't noticed.
I do have a panic, so
Still blank.
But they don't get anything with a reroll.
2 damage for 1 wound and a panic. Oh, I'm sorry, no.
wait,
1,
2 wounds.
2 wounds and a panic 1, 2, 3, 4 test.
All right. That could hurt.
So not quite enough damage to remove a Spine Thresher.
Wow, not enough by far.
Save for 2 more damage.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's right. Oh, yeah, we'll do that.
Sure.
You just throw the lost of Trafe in the.
Yep.
Cool, thanks.
Okay, so it's Loss of Fate, Doubt. So a tray has been removed. Unfortunately, in this case, it was a tray which was down to just 1 health anyways, so it's a great result to see one Spine Thresher go off the table, but
I got a reroll for panic.
kind of a bummer it wasn't something with a little bit more health in it.
But the fight has only just begun.
Yep, now Justin goes and has the counterattack. Oh, tough luck for Justin. With all those rerolls, still got a blank. Fickle red dice, it does happen.
I would take him from here.
Okay.
So it's going to be 6 damage.
Wait, do they already have a one?
Yes.
Okay.
that
I will
Or
clear
no,
the
let's see,
guy
because
who
it's 3 threat
Okay.
times 2.
So like this guy is going to end up exactly 1 range away. You're going to
Yeah.
take 2 from Thorns.
Yep. I got this. There we go.
Yeah, so just within 1 round, we've seen a lot of units taken off the table. Well, figures taken off the table. My apologies.
Yeah, certainly definitely some good damage that's been handed out by both sides.
I will
So
not-
just for taking a single spine thresher off the table,
3 panic dice, 1 on the die, 1 on the dial.
so to go down from a 2 tray down to a 1 tray, that's scoring Justin about 10 points that he'll get for that.
1 tray, no good. Stun
But you know,
token.
we've really got to take our hats off to these poor berserkers in the middle of the battlefield here. They are surrounded by demonic crabs
Congrats, you get
on all sides. There's,
And you took
you know, an ally who is trying to eat them. There's an enemy who's trying to eat them. There's Blood Witch on the other side. And they're still just doing their darndest.
You know, the theme of the day is what's for dinner.
Berserker, it's what's for dinner.
I'm afraid it is. The low unit on the totem pole.
5. This guy was trying to curving charge.
Okay, we got a turning charge.
It's obviously not going to work. But now I got to figure out which direction he goes.
So yeah, now JJ's got to think which direction she wants to go with that unit, because there's the volatile runes that are right there.
I'm going to do it this way.
Oh, and she's going to turn away.
Nope. Crack. All right.
Right side, it's only 2 wins.
Thanks.
Well, it could be 4. Wait, no, it could be
It's not making me feel
Unfortunately,
uncomfortable.
JJ has stumbled on top of one of the volatile runes, so she's going to take
That's going to hurt.
yeah, 2 wounds at the end of the game, at the end of the turn.
All right, no more 5s for me. That's all you.
5.
But granted, it's not as bad as it could have been. There is still 1 blank token on the runes.
There is. There could have been a whole other wound out there. Okay, looks like Justin's getting set up for a future charge, maybe. So let's see, what do we have left to activate? Looks like just Ravos and the 9 tray
He
berserkers.
doesn't do anything because his attack is weird.
So that was I believe we're at initiative. Yeah, that's 5.
I have no 5s. Any more 5s for you?
Nope.
All right,
Okay,
I
so we're
have
done with initiative 5.
I have no 6s.
All right, I have no 7s.
All right. Are you busting the 1 march?
No.
Okay. Then I'm going to back up 1 and panic token,
Nice.
and then march forward and hit you.
And get a panic token.
No, it's a charge.
Oh, it's a charge. Got it. Yep.
So Justin has just
you would do
pulled
the
off
attack
an
as you
interesting
also don't
maneuver
take a
where he has gone back 1 and then gone forward 1, and so in his case it turns into a charge because again of his aggressive shrieker.
2 rerolls of this die.
It did cost him panic token to do that, but in this case, it may be well worth it.
First. Second.
Wow.
Oh man, those red dice are not being nice today.
Yeah, Justin
Tempered steel.
rolled yet another blank. This is
4 wounds?
Does he have a wound already?
No.
for JJ. That's good news. I mean, it is 4 threat, but still
2 berserkers to kill the tray.
have a die blank out like that. That's not what you want to see.
Yeah, both players have been really struggling with dice in this game. I mean, you can build your army all you want, but sometimes the dice rolls just still aren't there.
Yeah, there's many a time in my gamer circles where some fluky result happens and you just all go, well, that's why we roll dice.
Excellent. That will kill the guy.
Okay, so
5.
Justin is using the ability of Berserkers where they can add to their lethal by sacrificing a couple of figures. So they can do up to 2 to do that. So that does result in 1 more wound, and that means 1 more Spine Thresher is off the table.
Just splattering all over something important. Pull this out of the tray so it's more visible.
Oh, I know you asked her whether she wanted to use it.
You're good. Just so it doesn't get lost. Not a problem. Cool. I'm dialed up.
So down to just Ravos. Looks like, oh, he went with forward with the charge. So JJ is going aggressive.
Sorry, what was that?
There's no getting
In the true spirit of the Athicula.
I can't think of any shenanigans that could stop me.
And in this case, Ravos has decided that he needs to do it himself.
Trey.
Sorry.
And now the question is, are the dice going to be with him?
Yeah.
1 hit. Whoa.
Oh.
Yeah. Yes, they are.
Oh, oh my gosh.
So 8 to kill that guy.
Okay.
That was pretty good.
I think that maybe the red dice heard us bad-mouthing them and decided to...
I think something is.
Oh my gosh.
Wow. 6 hits off of Ravos' attack. Only
Ravos'
at
Crab
Worlds.
Shack, indeed.
Yeah.
You're out, right?
I'm done.
Ravos has brought the butter to the game.
So I'll eat it, crabs.
Probably a bib, too.
Probably on a Kethra, I guess.
Because I guess you can do that? Yeah. That's
All right,
pretty well.
and then when I'm marked there, if I try to do a 1 bank, where do I end up? Where Ravos is, because the trade died, he didn't move. If I try to do the 1 bank with insatiable hunger, do I end up on her side or on her front? Should be her side. Just making sure.
So it sounds like what Justin's trying to do is determine what he's going to do with his insatiable
I think it's on the side. I mean, I'm
hunger
just
move at the end of the turn.
Yeah, if you go forward, yeah.
Yeah, so
so-
basically,
Come
take.
on in. Yeah.
Yeah, and you'll square up
Yes,
with your
I
front
will
facing
square up front facing her when I activate her next
Right.
turn.
So he's gone ahead
You square up now when
and
you collide.
Only when you act, only during your activation.
collided into the side of the Spine Thresher.
Double
So
check. His command is the same regardless. So
You square up as part of the marching shift.
So again, it's a question of one of the finer points of the game. When exactly do you square up? And you do square up at this point. So
okay. I love that I get this far and I still am not.
let's see. Now, the question is, how many wounds does Ravos currently have? That's Justin's
Scuttle
Ravos.
these guys
I'm
into
not
the
sure
terrain
that
at the
he's
same
got
time as
any wounds on him
disengaging.
at all.
If he hits the terrain, I'm not sure.
Well, he did use his goblet, correct?
He did use his Sarah's at
I
one
don't know,
point.
it's
Yeah.
really
Disengage
dodgy.
can collide with
And I
something new.
thought at one there was
And if he collides
of
with
course
the terrain-
Kethra's ability I thought had hit Ravos twice, or did I lose count and it was just one?
I mean, there's just so much excitement. Who can even keep track?
You can.
Oh my gosh.
The drama.
But yeah, even in, there seems to be much thinner. I can speak.
The game's getting less complicated, isn't it?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, there seems to be a much thinner spread of Spine Threshers across the battlefield.
There are.
That is how you put a sentence together.
So it's kind of interesting, towards the bottom end of the screen, it seems like Justin's he's doing pretty well there. And on the top of the screen, it seems like JJ's going to end up, I think, probably taking care of, what was that 4 tray of spine threshers. So I kind of wonder if we won't have, sort of resolution of the battlefield in 2 parts, and then they'll come at each other yet again.
So JJ has a 2-unit of spine threshers, kind of divided between another 2-unit of spine threshers and the 9-unit berserkers.
Right, the one that's on the rune right now, or
Yes.
the volatile rune. So
now the question is,
yeah, which way are they going to go?
yeah,
Because the problem is if she does,
she could try to spin around and hop into the terrain.
True. Yeah, because I think.
Oh shit.
Yeah. Okay. So it looks like the train had gotten bumped. It appears.
That's
So
certainly changed any math.
if she did go and enter the train, she would end up being engaged with those spine threshers.
I think I verified he would not collide.
I didn't think I was going to come out.
Okay. I'm gonna
So I'm
move
okay
it.
with us.
I'm gonna move it a little farther just so it's clear that doesn't happen.
Okay. So as with many games, bumping happens, jostling occurs. The game is. You can try your best not to move a unit accidentally or a piece of terrain.
It works. I think it would work. I'm fine.
But,
So long as no one flips the table, I think we're okay.
I think we're okay.
No.
And while we may be evil demons on evil demons, we're pretty behaved.
So your crab has 4 runes left.
3. This one over here, you mean? Or this one?
That guy.
Yeah, he's actually got 2 on him already.
He's got 2 on him already, and that guy's pristine, right?
Right.
Okay.
Okay, so it looks like we're
Ooh, we got 4 unstable energy runes.
and 2 blue runes. So kind of too bad that this wasn't out earlier in the game, but
But now everyone is going to be fighting to avoid those volatile runes.
right. And certainly panic tokens are going to be handed out for those that don't have any, especially at range 4. It's a pretty broad reach. Although I'm not sure that anybody doesn't have a panic token at this point. I kind of lost track.
And most units have multiple panic tokens.
Yes.
So even if they're steadfast, there's still the possibility for those higher morale cards.
Have you moved the round counter yet?
We haven't seen people spending them too much yet.
No, we haven't. And surprisingly, even from a morale perspective, it's been really tame. There's been multiple pulls of 3 morale cards that hasn't resulted in a usually devastating morale 3 result.
Oh yeah, so that's going to be coming up here soon. They've got to start spending these tokens.
Yeah, no, interestingly enough, it looks like Justin's Ravos has 2 panic tokens on him, if I see that right.
As good as I'm gonna get. Oh, that 4 trade is 8 dice, so.
What's that?
That 4 trade is sat there 8 dice. I'll
Yeah.
take that.
Okay, so we should have once again another very active round.
All right.
Oh yeah. The Etheric promises to be interesting.
You have initiative for
Yes.
scuttling.
All right.
Okay, so of course Justin is the player with initiative this turn.
First one into myself. Done. The other one, I'll take the panic, disengage, and miss the train because I can't have everything.
Okay, so it looks like once again we'll have
Yeah, we're good.
there could be some potentially interesting choices by our players. In that, did
Guys, get it.
they not guess
Thank you. Oh, thank you. It was inevitable. I was eventually going to try to do that.
what was, did they guess the right thing after all these scuttles? And
Didn't know sculling order either.
You have to try to predict your opponent's movements during the round, but this adds a whole second level of stress on top of that with all this scuttling going on.
yeah, and given all of Justin's units, or all Justin's spine threshers can scuttle, and with the exception of one of JJ's can scuttle, it's just more battlefield chaos. So interestingly enough, JJ has decided to disengage from Ravos.
I feel like I'm failing a test in school. It's like an oral exam and I'm getting it all wrong. Yep, there we go.
All right.
Now, this is not the first time that Justin and JJ have actually fought each other. So they played each other earlier in a round of Swiss. So they've of course seen each other's lists firsthand and know each other's hygienes.
Just have to eat Kethra the hard way.
Which adds a whole new level to the mind games.
It does. So in this case, we can see that one Ravos, Justin's Ravos, is swing and goes with a whiff, as did JJ's. So this time, we got the stunning away of Justin's attack, and he's blanked out.
You only have one die reroll.
He actually has one at the back rank and one for the panic.
Sorry,
Those are each a single die, though.
Yeah.
Oh, you're re-rolling both of them.
Yeah, sorry, I'm both at the same time.
Okay, so for those not clear, there is a single figure that's available in the third tray of what's left of the 9 tray of Berserkers. So that allows for a single reroll of a die. And then the other reroll, which Justin would not normally get, he's getting from the frontline spine thresher.
Okay, so that was not an issue.
And that comes about in the case that JJ had a panic token on her spine thresher. Unfortunately, though, that was enough damage. And another unit goes off the board.
See if a 2 charge hits him. I might have just goofed.
You probably will, and I goofed by activating the guys in the wrong order, but I'm just over it because I think you got this. Yeah, you get it.
Justin has come in. He did have a charge.
This guy's not doing anything instead.
That had just enough distance to reach JJ Spine Thresher that had scuttled away from Ravos.
But by doing that, he also kind of locks down those Berserkers again.
Cool, that'll do it.
Trucks him.
Let's square this guy up before you move that one.
Okay, there we go. Okay.
Well, unfortunately, that was enough damage to remove yet another Spine Thresher.
I forgot he couldn't scuttle into me. So, tank.
Great.
I take another panic token.
So JJ is
I am clearly, just
Has an equal number of wounds and panic tokens.
and panic tokens. Yeah.
a dial left.
Yeah. Kethra just sort of.
Oh, you got 2 dials left.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So Kethra and her Spine Threshers have yet to go. So it looks like they're going to reform.
And then Kethra
Looks like they're
tries to
all
get out of the way.
after look for another turn. Okay, so now the question is what is Kethra going to do? Okay, she's doing the two shift.
Yeah, she has to retreat back towards Ravos and the other Spine Threshers. Get some more protection.
She does. And it looks like she's got her special ability queued up, so she's going to go ahead and deal out a wound.
All right. Cool. End phase.
Ravos will do a 2 bank to the right.
Sure.
I'm assuming Ravos eats this last guy over here.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I might.
But I'll let you sequence things because that does matter a lot. Cool. Ravos got
So looks like each Ravos is going to be dining quite well in this last turn, and unfortunately Kethra goes down, taking her 3rd wound.
Are you good with that? Because I didn't put it down.
Oh, sad day.
Now it's just down to the Ravoses and the Threshers and a few very brave or very foolish berserkers.
It is.
Right. Yeah, it's a mistrigger. Yeah, I'll eat this guy.
All right. They can actually be square up like they're supposed to be.
So do you want to close in the Thresher?
Can't I only do that if the Thresher's active?
No, it's just one of.
Anytime it's engaged and the tray is touching dice.
Yeah, sure.
Totally.
Yeah, I know.
So interestingly, JJ has decided to continue to keep engaged with that Spine Thresher, even though it's a flank attack.
Pile of berserkers.
But between the one Spine Thresher and Ravos, that is a high probability of getting a few more points off the board.
I think so. I think it should be pretty safe to say that that unit will probably not be around much longer. Okay, so initiative's going to go back to JJ for this next turn, and once again, looks like we've got
A bunch of unstable energy runes.
all sorts of unstable.
No natural, though.
No, none at all.
Well, the Athuk are not super in tune with the natural world, so they don't need that. They're more into, fire and destroying things,
Finally starts to matter.
including each other, which
Shooting each other, yeah.
is going to be great for this battle.
No bringing people back from the dead or anything like that.
I'm really tired. I can't speak.
No, that's more for Wykar.
That's Wykar, yeah, that's their shtick.
4.5. Yeah, no, I can tell my brain's starting. This is.
I don't know. I mean, an alliance between Wykar and the Athuk could be quite interesting. Because they have to kill a bunch of people to get their demons, and then Wykar can just bring them back from the dead.
Yeah, and interestingly enough, that you mentioned that earlier today we had a team match, and we had 2 of them running, and they were both 4-on-4, so there were 4 on each team. And so in the one team match that I played on, it was 3 Wykar players and 1 Athuk player versus 3 Dakan and 1 Latari. So exactly that scenario. Which is one of the, I gotta hand this.
That sounds about right. Like, I don't think that too many of the Latari would be down to align themselves with the Dakan.
Yeah, and Baron Z was there, so, another reason to maybe distrust the Dakan. But, multiplayer, big, out of control game like that, still game plays really, really well.
And had all 4 factions represented.
Yeah. The match still has just under an hour left to go. Things are getting a lot less complicated now. Justin still has at least the remnants of all 4 of his original units. They're just, some of them are a lot smaller than they used to be.
All right. Ready?
And the 3 remaining units of JJ's army are hanging in there, going strong.
What am I doing?
Yeah, that one Spine Thresher who's a little surrounded in the north up there, he's not long for this world.
I'm done.
All right, I'm gonna scuttle.
Right.
And let the scuttling begin.
Yes. So the question is, will Justin scuttle?
Okay. Yeah, I'll scuttle the Threshers that way if you want to get it for me.
Yeah, sure.
So once again, could we see all sorts of chaos introduced into the game just because the units scuttled?
Call them?
Good. Yeah, any 2s?
No.
All right.
So Ravos is going to get the flank attack. Initiative 3.
I hope I was long enough
Charge.
to flatten here.
Or not.
Well, your Ravos, when he actually swings, is doing
And
amazing.
Ravos has sealed the deal for Justin's 4 tray of Spine Threshers.
That's 3 to you.
So now we're down to 3 units against 3 units.
We are. This game is not done.
Light switch. All right. I'm reforming.
Justin has went with the Initiative 3 reform. So he's going to be well prepared when those Spine Threshers come in, presuming that's what they're going to do. Oh, of course.
Totally.
Justin's got the skill dialed up.
Yeah, no, I can tell.
And with there being 4 red runes, War Sprinter kicks in and zoom.
Yeah, that's gonna hurt.
That's going to hurt. That will leave a slight mark.
I will smoke.
There's
Oh,
like
wait.
3 wounds on there right now.
Oh, wait. Sorry.
Yeah.
3 wounds on this guy?
Yeah,
I will still smoke that one and leave 2 on the healthy.
sure.
And another Spine Thresher gone.
And another one leaves the field. I don't know if there was a stretcher involved, but
Now we just need Ankarmaro to come in on his surfboard of bones,
I mean, it seems to be good.
rise him up from the dead.
All right, that
Ravos
was
is
3.
going to look dumb.
Well, I mean, it doesn't matter how dumb he looks. I've wiped off the table. All right. Yeah, I have no more 3s.
so that was a
Like, this guy does nothing. That's
big-
4 to you.
big payoff yet again from Justin's build of his 9 tray of Berserkers.
You can keep going.
Rally and I run into my own backside. And then Ravos, give me a shift 2 that way, and then I'll
Yeah.
reform him.
But we might be seeing the beginning of a traffic jam
Absolutely.
with the southernmost unit of Spine Threshers down there.
Maybe. I mean, that 2 tray, unfortunately, the way that it's behind everything,
And I will put the wound on.
unless Ravos really hits the gas and gets out of there, you're right, it's going to be blocked in.
Yeah.
I'll put
But
the
you know,
wound
they
on
are
him and
kind of a
then
straight
march
shot. I really want to see Ravos versus Ravos here.
You might, I think you're going to get your wish.
Yes.
Okay, so we're at
He just starts having a crisis of identity.
the end of
Is he
the
striking
round.
at himself or at the other?
So
Oh,
does one of them have a
Ravos
goatee?
moved away.
Yes, Ravos moved away.
I'm assuming the other, the Thresher eats the wound.
I already put it on him, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I'm comfortable calling this if you are. Is there a reason to play this out?
I don't want to.
Hey, dude.
Okay, it looks
That
like
is
that's going to be the game. Yeah, JJ is conceding, and our world champion for 2018 in Rune Wars is Justin
Hare.
How about that?
I mean,
Congratulations,
to be honest,
Justin.
like, I think that the
And congratulations to JJ for
was you kept
a
walking
valiant
around
effort.
And I couldn't pin it down, and so it distracted like half my army over here, even though it's not that many points. Like, my plan
Thank you for
was
joining us
practicing-
for the championship game. This was a very exciting match, very fast-paced, a Thuk versus a Thuk.
Yes, it was. And, you know, unlike you might have expected conservative play, there was no conservative play here. They were going at each other full tilt. There was all sorts of exciting shenanigans going on. This was a really great game.
Yeah. So thank you for tuning in, everybody. And we will be back in just a few minutes for an interview with Justin Hare, our new world champion.
Thanks for watching.
Hi, I am here with our newest world champion, Justin Hare, who is representing the Thukulon in Runewars Miniatures Game. So, Justin, how you feeling?
Tired, basically. Exhausted and not quite processing that I did this.
Well, that was a very impressive show.
Thank you.
So, why did you design your army like this?
Essentially, I have no ranged units, so the 4-tray Threshers was to pack as much threat into as narrow army as possible. That's pretty much it.
Sorry. So you were fighting against JJ, who is also using the Ethuculon.
Yes.
So how do you prepare to fight against an army that's very similar to your own?
I play cautiously. I know scuttling's a big deal, so I need to wait to get to close range on a turn when actually she has initiative, because her scuttling has to trigger first. That's the bulk of the strategy.
So I understand that this isn't the first time that you and JJ have fought each other.
Yes. We played each other game 3 yesterday, I think. It may have been game 4.
So how did the tournament season go for you this year?
I won the 1 store champ I went to. I won the 2 regionals I went to. I won North American champs at Gen Con, and then I won this year. So really, really well.
Yeah, that sounds like a pretty awesome year.
Yeah.
So what do you think was the defining moment of this match?
Of this match? Recognizing that I was able to start eating and wounding Kethra while not actually being engaged with her. Besides that, waiting for the unstable runes to cooperate, so War Sprinter worked.
Yeah, that was a rough couple of rounds at the beginning. What was it, 2 rounds with no unstable energy runes?
Yes. So I spent 2 rounds just doing my version of sandbagging, waiting for the opportunity.
All right. So your army has clearly served you well this year and all throughout the tournament circuit. Yeah. So is there anything that you're excited to try out for next year?
I haven't thought far enough ahead to next year. I'm excited to put everything I've been playing away long enough to collect dust and go play everything else I'm not using.
Yeah, that sounds like a very well-rounded strategy. And then you'll be back trying out a whole new army.
Yes. Yeah, that's the plan.
Cool. Well, thank you very much for joining us, and congratulations. That was a heck of a game. All right. So, and thank you for joining us today, guys. So we will be back tomorrow at 10:50 a.m. for the final round of a Game of Thrones all day. So have a great night. Thank you.